Hello and good day, everyone. Thanks for joining MeteoMark's Weather here. We have a lot to talk about here with the tropics. We're looking at the potential tropical wave here that's going to produce a tremendous amount of rain and flooding here across the Caribbean islands. Could this actually develop into an early season, early June tropical storm? Well, we'll have to take a look at that. One thing's for sure, it has a lot of moisture, and we'll take a look at the other tropical waves across the Atlantic and the Pacific as well. And we'll take a look at what's left of Typhoon Ewiniar out here, actually causing some problems here for Japan as a tropical storm as it parallels the coast, and all of its moisture affects eastern and northeastern Japan here. And don't forget, if you haven't watched my Hurricane 2024 Outlook, it's a link in the description down below and at the end of this video. And we'll also take a look at all your severe weather and which areas are likely to see the worst of it. Let's get into it. All right, so for our tropical update, we're looking at the GFS first here, and I'll transition over to the Euro. Look what's going on here. This is like a dual-purpose low-pressure, essentially the tropical wave. Look at this over here into the Eastern Pacific. We got a 20% chance here through day 7, so there's definitely some energy in the area here. There's going to be energy funneling across southern and central part of Central America here. Look at this. This is kind of just hanging out through Friday and into Saturday, and it looks like two pieces of energy break off here. You have the Eastern Pacific low, and then you have the Atlantic low. There's no outline yet for the Caribbean. There is some wind shear, so that could be, inhibiting any of this development, but it's something we're going to have to keep close watch on here because we go over the weekend into early next week, and we're going to see some heavy rain here across Jamaica, parts of Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and even the Turks and Caicos westward into the Bahamas there. Some heavy rain. Look at that through, this is the 3rd. So this system looking very organized at this point. As far as moisture, it has plenty of moisture. Now, whether it can get a low-level circulation going here remains to be seen, but, things could slowly come together here. Look at this as we head towards the 3rd and especially into the 4th here. It is an elongated area of low pressure. That's the only thing working against it at this point. It's not, you don't see this really low-level circulation. It's kind of wrapped up here on the southern end of all this moisture. And we keep getting this funneled northward here across the island of Hispaniola, which is definitely going to cause some flooding rains. But here by the 4th, you can see, look at this. Right around this area of high pressure out here south of the Azores, this system is literally working up just like this. So it almost resembles more of a frontal boundary, and that might be what's working against it here. You can see this area of low pressure. Now, I want to make note, this is definitely no threat to the U.S. East Coast or the Gulf. We have too much troughiness over here, so just want to get that out of the way. This is a Caribbean islands and Central America issue here, and that's going to continue here as we go out in time. Look at here towards the 6th, though. This is where we start to get another redevelopment right around eastern Cuba, Jamaica, getting more heavy rain here. This is looking rather interesting here as we go out here in time. We just keep seeing one succession after another here. Cayman Islands, by the 7th, you might be getting in on this too. Look at this. This looks like almost like a washed out frontal boundary, these elongated areas of low pressure here, but these are tropical waves here. Look at this towards the 8th and the 9th here as we head towards Cuba and the Bahamas. We'll keep getting flare-ups here, and that continues further northward here. So we'll see if we actually get an early June tropical storm here. This run is not so impressive. Out here in the intertropical convergence zone, we have had a few big waves move off the coast of Africa here. But of course, the intertropical convergence zone is going to continue to slowly push ever so slightly to the north here. So for our European run here, there is our system showing up very nicely here on the European model. And as we go in time, you can see that heading towards Nicaragua as we head during the day on Friday. You can see that moisture pinwheeling to the west here, a little bit of that energy spilling out here into the eastern Pacific. Now, here is our conglomeration of moisture continuing. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. We do have a big old tropical wave back here towards the Lesser Antilles as well, and these big old waves coming off of the Cape Verde areas, well south of the Cape Verde areas. Now let's put this into motion here. You can start to see by Saturday morning, look at this conglomeration of moisture. You're going to start to get some heavy rains up towards Jamaica, even the Cayman Islands, according to the European model here. We'll go over those rainfall amounts momentarily. But as we head through the 2nd into the 3rd of June here, there's going to be a lot of moisture, and things start to consolidate really nicely here right around June 3rd. So this moves away from Central America and South America in the direction of Jamaica, brushing the Cayman Islands as well, Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico, all the way over towards the Northern Lesser Antilles and the Virgin Islands here. As we go through the 4th and the 5th here, look at this. Yeah, this could be some heavy moisture. Let's just zoom out just a bit. This is pinwheeling around this area of high pressure here. So here's the steering currents. You can see this troughiness here on the southwest part of this high. Intertropical convergence zone staying south here, but you can see it's bumping up a little bit to the north here. So that is, going to change as we go throughout June. We're going to have to start watching the Cape Verde Islands. Now, look at this. This is a big old mess of moisture. And right around the 5th here is the European model kind of hinting that we may see some sort of development. It still looks a little bit disorganized here. It's a conglomeration of moisture, an area of strung out low pressure associated with this tropical wave. But then we start to get some indications that we might see something try to close off here. At this point, it would be well north of the Dominican Republic and Haiti and the Turks and Caicos here. So something we'll have to keep close watch here. But look at this. This is where we really start to look a little bit more organized as we head later on in the afternoon on the 6th and into the 7th. But look at this. I don't know. At this point, it's something we got to watch closely. It's going to be around with us for quite some time as we head into the 7th. Maybe an early June system here. We'll have to keep close watch. Here it is. Something trying to close off here just southeast of Bermuda here right around the 7th. So as I said before on the GFS, there's that troughiness along the U.S. East Coast and Southeast Canada. So obviously anything that would develop out of this would not head to North America. There we go. And it starts to head off towards the Northeast. But look at this. I want to leave you here right around this section of the European model, really lining up with the GFS. Belize, look at this. Honduras, these areas, the Yucatan Peninsula, finally getting some heavy rain by this point as another tropical wave, starts to develop around this region. So this is right around the 8th here. And look at these tropical waves out here east of the Lesser Antilles. Yeah. These are getting pretty well in line with Trinidad, Tobago, Grenada here, Barbados. So as this moves to the north, we're going to have to watch for potential development as we head throughout June. And another product here, thanks to Tropical Tidbits, I want to show how much dry air could actually feed into our potential system, especially next week. There is a lot of moisture here. Now, there is some dry air to the west over the Yucatan and to the north with this high pressure system. But as you can see here, there is plenty of moisture here to work with. So if this thing does develop, if this tropical wave does develop into anything, it's likely to not be too infringed here, with the exception for the western side of some dry air. And looking at the European model showing a very similar scenario here, with the exception that high pressure is stronger to the north here. So you can see this precipitation and moisture shield is a little bit more elongated. Nevertheless, this dry air is hanging well to the west. So at this point, it does look like, this could actually become favorable, especially as we get towards, say, there's June 4th, June 5th, and then June 6th here on the European, really showing it nicely. It's got a large area that this could actually develop in. And look at these explosive sea surface temperatures. They're actually really warming up just off of North America here, the Gulf, the Caribbean, even out here south of the Cape Verdes. Now, this area has been cooling down due to that Saharan dust. So we'll have to keep an eye and see if those trends continue. It's still only bringing it, closer to average, however. All right, so as we take week by week with the CFS model, you can see that positive precipitation anomaly here across the central part of the Caribbean on up to the Bahamas here. As we go out in time, that pinwheel is a little bit towards the north, the Florida Peninsula, as we head towards the second week of June. As we head towards, say, the third week, second into the third week, that intertropical convergence zone really starts to increase here. And look at the southeastern part of the United States really kicking in with moisture as we head towards the end of June. And look at this, towards July 4th. Look at this positive precipitation anomaly really kicking up here. And here we go with the CANCIPS model. Look at this. So as we head towards, there's June, right around the Caribbean islands, intertropical convergence zone. There's July. Yeah. This really shows it very well. It is going to be one surge after another of tropical waves and potential development. And here we go with the Western Caribbean. You're getting some rain there in Nicaragua and Honduras, and eventually we'll start to see some in Belize here. But here is the big story. Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. We're going to start to see 40 to as much as 80 millimeters as we head through Monday, early Monday of next week. That'll get us up towards 1.5 inches, close to 2.5 inches of rain. Now, looking at the GFS model here, this will allow us to go out a little bit further here as we head through Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at this. Yeah, we're really going to start to pile up the rainfall here. This takes us through June 15th. But look at this. Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, from Nicaragua, all the way northeastward here towards Hispaniola, and much of the central and southern Bahamas. This is where we could see 100 to as much as 150 millimeters of rainfall. That's a solid 4 to 7 inches. And into the Eastern Caribbean here. This takes us through early next week. You can see, Jamaica, the island of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico. These areas getting hit 60 to as much as 120 millimeters. And as we head through next week, we're going to be continuing to pile on that rainfall, especially in these areas right here. This zone is going to be really problematic. Potential flooding. In our European model through early next week, there is with that tropical wave that approaches on Monday there in parts of the Lesser Antilles. Watch out. You could get 40 to as much as 70 millimeters next week, bringing you up to about 1.5 to 2 inches. And of course, this area is just going to fill in as we head through next week. And we're also watching the tropics out here by Japan. We actually have what's left of Typhoon Ewiniar out here. This system actually causing some problems here in Japan. It is paralleling the coast here towards Tokyo. And as you can see, it's lifting off to the northeast. So as we get into the rest of Friday, into the early part of the weekend, these outer feeder bands really pummeling parts of Tokyo and the East Coast and all these prefectures here as well. So watch out. That system racing off to the northeast. That's the only saving grace. Behind this, we have the intertropical convergence zone here. Over here is the Philippines. So, there's not much behind this. We have a lot of monsoon moisture with these synoptic type systems that are going to continue to head up towards Japan, and that's your rainy season. As we head towards June here, June is always your rainy season. Now, look at here just east of Vietnam, west of the Philippines. This is by June 10th. We do start to see an area of low pressure that may develop into some sort of tropical low. So we'll have to watch it here, and then something up towards Taiwan. But this is getting pretty far out, and this looks more synoptic in nature as we head towards mid-June here. As we go into the Eastern Pacific, look at this. This system could develop over the next several days here. We have a few areas of developments to watch here, especially through days 7 through 10. If anything were to develop at this point, it doesn't look like anything major, probably tropical depression or tropical storm. All right, so for the rest of Thursday night into Friday, these are the stormy areas right out here from Minnesota all the way down to Texas here. This is a big old area. So let's just take that time by time here, section by section. Look at this. There's going to be a big old bow echo. This is no North Texas here has been no stranger to extreme amount of severe weather here. Look at this. That's heading towards the Fort Worth area as we head towards 6 a.m. And then by 8 a.m., look at that. That is intense, heading towards Houston by noon tomorrow. So as we head to the north here, what is going on here across the northern plains? Yeah, there's going to be some severe weather up here, strong to severe thunderstorms as well. Look at this over here into the Ohio Valley, a nice area of high pressure, keeping your weather nice for TGIF. So as we continue to go out in time beyond noon on Friday, you can see the areas that are going to be problematic here as we go from noon onward here. Another area of development over by north central Texas here, that heading towards Austin and eventually San Antonio as we head into the evening rush. And look at this. We just keep getting explosive development here into the western plains, panhandle of Texas. Definitely got to keep a close watch on that. And look at that as we go out in time. There is that system moving up through the Mississippi and Ohio River Valley. As we get into Saturday, there it is. Saturday afternoon, we got some rain moving up into the Ohio River Valley, and then some stronger thunderstorms down here along the Gulf Coast. All right, so as we continue here on the GFS, and I'll flip over to the European model momentarily here, we'll have your Canadian weather outlook just shortly. But as we head into Friday into Saturday here, the midsection of the country towards the Mississippi Valley, and then eventually the Ohio River Valley. This is Saturday. Your weather's not looking so great here. And then as we head towards Sunday here into parts of the Ohio Valley into the northeast, you can see those showers and thunderstorms heading up this direction. It does weaken as we head towards the 3rd here, so that's some good news. But there it is. There's that system moving into the northeast. It's plowing into an area of high pressure, so chances of any major storm development is not that great. But I want to bring your attention to this area right around the 4th. Here it originates up here in Minnesota. It's actually an area of low pressure up here in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Look at the energy associated with this. This could be a serious severe weather outbreak here as we head on into June 4th and into the 5th here. Now watch how this pinwheels to the east, and then it heads into our area of the northeast right around the 6th or the 7th. So the weather is going to be going downhill in this region, and then heads up towards southeast Canada as we head into the 7th and 8th. And look at this here into the Central Plains, another area of severe weather, one right after another as we head through the 9th and the 10th. So a very fast-moving weather pattern here, but one theme is true. You can see this troughiness. We do have an area of high pressure building in here, but this trough is going to try to lift out, but every time it does, it's going to fill back in with these upper level lows. So it seems like storminess is going to win out here across the north and the east. All right, so liquid equivalent precipitation amounts as we go through the weekend, you can see where most of that will lie. And then as we head into next week, yeah, the same areas just keep getting hit over and over and over again. Lots of severe weather across the south and the Midwest. And then here into parts of the northeast, we'll continue to have systems where we get lots of storms and heavy rain as we head through the 2nd week of June. Our European model, let's take it through the weekend into early next week, right around Monday. There it is. Ohio Valley into parts of the northeast, anywhere from a quarter to as much as a half inch in those purple areas towards Cleveland, west, southwestward here, but maybe an inch to an inch and a quarter here. Look at that, though. Texas to the southern Mississippi River Valley, upwards of 2 to as much as 5 inches of rain. All right, so as we head through the rest of this week into early next week, through the weekend here, you can see what's going to be happening. We're dealing with troughiness here along the East Coast and a very fast-moving weather pattern. And as we continue through next week, deeper into June, you can see that troughiness just intensifies here across the East Coast. So as I said before, as we go through time here in June, any systems that are likely to develop out to sea, the Caribbean, could actually, be deflected out to sea. Not to say there might not be some timing differences where we get a ridge that could plow a system into North America, but at least for the next, say, couple weeks, it's probably pretty promising that we're going to see anything that would develop down here in the Atlantic and Caribbean move out to sea. Got to keep a close watch on this, though, because as fast-moving weather patterns can throw some surprises here into the mix. Now, our Canadian weather forecast here, we have a big old low up here in north central Canada. We're going to continue to watch that as we go in time. And then severe weather is going to become a thing as we head towards June 2nd into the 3rd here, especially across Ontario. Watch out here into the British Columbia area. We could see mountain snow, valley rain here. Now, as we continue to go through next week, you can see these low pressure systems are going to be traveling pretty far to the north here up towards Hudson Bay. Finally, some clearing here into parts of southeast Canada, all the way to Newfoundland here. That's great news. But Western Ontario and Manitoba here really getting hit with a lot of heavy precipitation here. And then we finally get one here into Quebec and Eastern Ontario by the 7th here. Look at that. Big old low pressure winding up here across southeast Canada. And that's going to be heading towards New Brunswick and Nova Scotia and eventually Newfoundland by the 9th and the 10th there, conglomerating into an area of low pressure, lots of rain and wind likely. That heading on into the Canadian Maritimes by the 10th through 12th. And look at this, more storminess, very fast-moving weather pattern here across Canada. So if we take a look at precipitation amounts here across Canada, look at this. Yeah, for the time there, all the way through the first week of June, southeast Canada doesn't look like much until we get towards the second week of June. But look at this. Yeah, this is showing a very active pattern across in much of Canada here. And then the closer you head towards the U.S.-Canadian border, that's where you stand the chance of seeing 60 to as much as 100 millimeters. That's in excess of, say, 2.5 to as much as 4.5 inches of rain. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. All right, so as we take a look at the rest of this weekend to the weekend for temperatures, look what's going on here. Lots of moisture with these warmer temperatures here across the south, feeding those severe weather outbreaks. But look at here into the northeast. We're finally starting to warm things up as we head into Saturday. We see lots of 70s and 80s up here as well. So it actually looks pretty temperate across much of the nation as we head into Sunday as well. Look at all of this temperatures into the close to 90 in many of these areas. As to Monday as well, the heat is actually building, 80s up here into the northeast and 90s down here along the Gulf Coast. And as we head through into next week, Tuesday, look at this, pretty temperate, 70s to the north here, 80s as well as 90s, really building across the south. And then as we get into Wednesday, look at the heat is on out west as well, building here in the east, and nice 70s here across the Midwest, lakes, and the Northeast. Extended outlook from hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley of New York, and Pennsylvania. Look at this for, I was going to say Tuesday, it's actually Friday. 36 for a low. Look at that. Frosty conditions in some of the rural valleys. 72 for a high. 81 by Saturday. Mostly sunny skies. Sunday, there's a 50 to 60% chance of showers and thunderstorms, especially after noon. A little bit cooler with those clouds. Monday looking nice. Sunny and 80 and warmer. mid to upper 80s with a chance of a scattered shower or thunderstorm by Tuesday. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.